going on, everybody? This is 40B Nasty. I'm here to show you an update with my 5-gallon tank that I have some Neocaridina species growing in. This is some Sunkist. Those are the orange ones, and then you'll see the blue dream velvets. And I do believe that one right next to the orange one right there, I believe that is a black carbon Rili. Or Blue Carbon Rili. Oh, there's Brawlin. Make some good camera work there. Thanks, buddies. But they're an awesome species and an easier species to get into. The Neocaridinas are the simpler ones. The Caridinas are the ones that need a little bit more, attentive things to the substrate, general hardness, temperature. A lot of those can be an issue for shrimp, for these two as well, if you're not within parameters. But the parameters that you're looking for usually come pretty much with your basic tap water and all that stuff. And this is what you can do with the Neocaridinas, is use tap water, use prime to condition it. Make sure that your TDS stays between 150 and 250, and that's total dissolved solids. And one of the other thing is you're looking for is general hardness in your water, which is GH. You can get test kits for that. And your general hardness you want between 4 and 6, it seems like, for the consensus. I've heard 3 to 6, but I'll go with 4 to 6 just to make sure I'm not, being a trailblazer and trying to be doing my own thing. That's one of the things in this hobby, is you don't want to do trailblazing. Sure, sometimes it'll work, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I'm going to try and stick as close to the basics of what the general information for these things are and guide you along with that as much as possible. So what we have here, if you notice in the shrimp, see how it's kind of brown? It's a little brown there too. Well, that is a good way to tell that a shrimp is actually healthy. If you ever see it where it's pink in that area, or a peachy pink, be careful, that one is probably diseased. So that's just one little heads up that I happen to catch online. One thing that you really want to do is make sure that you have lighting for your plants if you're going to do planted tank. Shrimp, as far as lights go, you can do about like 6 to 8 hours on them. You don't want to overdo them. It may stress them out, but it's not going to kill them. That is a myth. Try to keep, I got a 10K T5 light in here and a Coral Plus, so that has been my light, and it's been keeping these plants healthy. I'm enjoying this tank a lot. I did put a filter, like a sponge filter, on the intake for my Floval 50. If you notice, there's 2 bags of C nodes in that canister. So this is a hang off the back filter. The reason why I have that there is so baby shrimp do not get sucked up in there, because one of my Neocaridinas, the orange ones, the Sunkist, there was actually babies in her little feelers. Let me see if I can find one for you real quick. There's one right there. See it? It's so tiny. And that's why you need to have that sponge in front of the intake. Otherwise, you're going to lose every single one of them that you work forward to. And I do have actually about 8 of those babies in here. I don't know if they pop up anywhere, but they seem to crawl down a little bit in the rocks. See? They just came back out. But if you notice this one right here, I believe it is a Blue Carbon Rili. And I love that one. That actually is my favorite. I do have one really big orange guy sitting in the back. Can't get a good show of them, but that's my favorite. And I think that's the one that actually had the babies. If you notice the pond snails in here, be careful when you go to pick a snail for your tank, because this snail will breed like crazy. See that little jelly right there? And there's more right there on that stem. Those are all eggs from these pond snails. I literally can take 4 of these out every 3 days, and they will be replenished, because in that back moss area is a ton of snails. And the one thing I don't really want right now is those snails chowing on the food, because they do come over. And if you notice right here, I have a frag plug. Well, that frag plug, I was taking a little chunk of nori about 1 inch by inch, and then I would actually take the elastic and wrap it around that post and just sink it down, and then you should see the shrimp and the snails. They all come over to that thing and they pound it down. It's good food for them. If you're ever looking for a calcium supplement, I'm not 100% how sure great this is for a tank, but actually using Tums. And if you're going to use Tums, use the pink ones only because they do not like any of the other colors. Corey from Corey Co-ops mentioned something about it. And actually, I tried the white ones and they didn't work. So he mentioned that strawberry ones was the only ones that they seem to like. That is absolutely true for my tank and his. So with these little orange Sunkist, you can see little babies bouncing around in there. So this is really fun to do. Honestly, I'm enjoyed this so much. This is what happened. I ended up setting up a 20-gallon tank. Yep, folks, I'm actually going to set up like a species only there. And probably just do like Blue Carbon Rilis in there. I did find one really cool shrimp that I'm not going to tell you about because I'll bring it to you as a surprise if I do end up getting it. But this is a simple setup. Got a red leaf lily. Did a sponge filter. It's the 60. I think it's like an aqua something. I can't remember the name of it. But there's a white or a clear intake that goes up off of every single sponge filter. Went to Home Depot, found a 2-foot pipe, cut it up there, put an elbow to it, put another section to it. I cut that on an angle because I heard when you cut this on an angle, it actually allows for less bubbles, which will be less splash up when I put the lights on there, and then you won't get into your light system. It's all powered by that aqua top, and that is a 50 and a 100, 50 to 100. If you notice, there's 2 lines that come out of it. That's what makes it 100. And that goes up to that 4-valve stem, and that's where the line comes into the water, and it goes right down that pipe. The air gets pushed through because the line is attached right there. The air gets pushed down here. Water pressure brings it up. The air pressure brings it up and out that pipe. And it sounds weird, but it's an easy filter, and that's how it's done. Now this is 40B Nasty out. I'm gonna sign out with my Neocaridinas in the shot. And my pond snails. Take care.